We just did it again. I spent 45 minutes to an hour rambling to you guys about how you got to wake up in the morning, you got to get it done in the morning. All us guys in our 40s who are trying to get athletic, who are trying to be fit, we got to get it done in the morning because when else are you going to have time? Here I am. It's evening. It's after work. It's 7 o'clock again, and I got to get in some front squats, some Nordics, and some calf raises. Okay, so intermittently throughout the workout, we're going to talk about one topic and one topic only. The topic of the day is you got to make it about a sport. Okay, so I'm going to make a call about the future of fitness, the fitness landscape, the fitness milieu zeitgeist, right? That everybody's chasing performance now. Okay, we went through our functional phase, we went through our like work capacity phase with CrossFit. Everybody's obsessed with CrossFit. Love what CrossFit did for the fitness community, but I think we'll get to what was wrong with CrossFit maybe later. Okay, and then everybody's now on like the hypertrophy train. Bodybuilding's back. It's cool. Like let's get jacked. And now S&C is getting the light shown on it again, and you've got channels and influencers popping up all over again about here's how you get athletic, here's how you jump higher, here's how you sprint faster, and here's how you get stronger, right? Bigger, faster, stronger. I think everybody can kind of relate to that. But here's what all those modalities, all those approaches, philosophies, frameworks to working out miss out on is you got to tie it back to a sport in the end. We'll get into it a little bit. I got to go warm up this front squat. We're going to do front squat with straps, which is absolutely horrible, but the best way to mobilize your front rack. Let's get into it. Got my straps here. Quickly, the other little niche of fitness that is really bothersome, the one that I hate the most, is the kind of corrective space, the sort of quasi rehab space. You'll think of your guys like functional patterns, your expansion compression boys, people who kind of adhere to a really austere and specific set of movements or prescriptive set of movements. You may only move this way, or this is the exact reason why you're in pain, or exact reason why you need to move. It's because this little rib is out of place, or your SI is off by 2 degrees. That is the super most annoying. And I think that kind of stuff is harmful because it makes you feel more fragile as an individual when really, I think in the end, we all just kind of need to get jacked and strong. But that's my feelings about all those different parts of the fitness landscape. We talked about, again, CrossFit, bodybuilding, and now I'm getting into correctives, and now we're pivoting, everybody's pivoting towards performance because everybody wants to be athletic, which is cool. I'm jumping on that train too, clearly. But back to the main point, you got to tie it back to a sport because what are you going to do with all this capacity in the end? Okay, so you're jacked. Awesome. Sick. Check that box. You're fast. Holy moly. Not a lot of people are fast, and you got fast through training. You can jump high. That's sick. Holy moly, good for you. You're jacked and you're strong. You can squat a lot, you can bench a lot. Okay, but just like all the other modalities, like think about CrossFit. Cool, you did a sub 2 minute Fran. Okay, think about bodybuilding. Wow, dude, your arms are 26 inches. That's sick. Think about the correctives. Holy shit, bro. Your rib cage is expanding to the right perfectly now. So all your world's problems are solved. Think about, well, we already talked about bodybuilding. Think about even performance, the ones I just listed. You're jacked, you're fast, all this stuff. What the heck are you going to do with it? Those are just numbers. Those are just arbitrary. If it's not tied to a sport or some kind of performative, uh, reality-based outcome, then you're just blowing smoke up your butt. Even though you're a jacked beast, we all get it. I'm proud of you, but what are you doing with all that capacity? All right, so front squat, rack. Oh my gosh. Okay, cut. Okay, rant over. So I've got my straps in. I just kind of roll this in as if I'm going to deadlift, and then I put it in my front rack. And I think even before let's make sure the lab doesn't get smushed from this. Even before I squat this thing, I just kind of want to stand up with it. And holy moly, does that hurt my elbows. But it's good for us. And I know my rack is not set up properly, but we're going to take this deep anyway and just kind of stretch the bottom of our squat. Oh my goodness, that hurts. Put it into the quads, Sean. Okay. Oh, that sucks. CrossFit tried to remedy this problem by creating the CrossFit Games, which gamified or made competitive all the different movements with weightlifting and couplets and triplets and different functional workouts. But I think the only problem with CrossFit is this is going to sound like it's bashing endurance sports or weightlifting sports. In the even with how much stuff you have to get good at, it's once you learn how to snatch and once you learn how to clean, um, there's not much more to learn from the skills in CrossFit. That's rude. There's some gymnastics, right? Like the handstand walks, that's impressive. But in each one of the different modalities that CrossFit uses, so any endurance modality, thinking about swimming, running, biking, all that stuff, weightlifting, snatch, deadlift, squat, I said deadlift, snatch, clean, bench, deadlift, press, any other kind of barbell movement. I know they mix in strongman with there. And then with any kind of gymnastics movement, muscle ups, handstand push ups on the rings, uh, what have you. I think with the exception of weightlifting and maybe some of the powerlifting numbers, it's all like a C minus across the board as when you compare the endurance of a CrossFit athlete to an elite endurance athlete or a weightlifter to an elite weightlifter or a CrossFitter to um, what was the last one? Any kind of like all those gymnastic skills. That's like light work for any I don't know 10-year-old that's training gymnastics, which is not the hottest of takes. But once you learn the skills of CrossFit, it then just becomes this masochistic endurance kind of mindset of now I'm going to bash my head into the ground and become better at random combinations of these things. And that's good for some folks, but I think there's missing elements. It's an individual sport for the most part. You're not necessarily reacting to other people. The implements are usually kind of right in front of you. The barbell doesn't jump and cross you over, for instance. That kind of make it not one dimensional. That's rude, but have less dimensions than any of the classic sports that people dedicate their lives to. Something to chew on. One more horrific. Oh, one more horrific deep squat, front squat. Really trying to stay upright. Really trying to put this into my quads because that's not how I squat usually, and I'm trying to change how I squat a little bit. So I get big fat thighs. Whoa, big crack. Stay upright. Stretch the front rack. Get upright. And put it into the quads. Oh. And that, boys, is how you make 135 look really heavy. Okay, now let's pick apart the sort of corrective or prehab, quasi prehab rehab space of movement experts like your Godas, your functional patterns, your Joel Seedmans, your any list influencer here who is going to get you right by, bro, you got to do the splits in order to avoid injuries. Okay, so that's like usually the main claim is because everybody knows all those workouts, some of them look goofy and maybe a little bit fun, but it's a lot of fluff. It's a lot of fear mongering to convince you that these guys are doing something super special and specific that's going to make you bulletproof to any and all injuries when there is not a research paper anywhere that would justify just about any of the claims that they're making. And so they're making all their marketing, all their money off of making you, the consumer, super scared of your body and how you move. And none of that in itself is very fun as a means to an end. Whereas engaging in a sport and playing with other people, being on a team, competing, uh, having camaraderie, that's cool. But if you kind of want to play touch butt and swing sticks connected to cable columns and call yourself functional and therefore bulletproof, go nuts. I just think it's an empty endeavor. It's kind of hollow. To a lot of people, it looks sexy, but I promise you, it's the hot girl with no personality. Do not pursue that. Do front squats with straps. Ooh, feels a little bit better narrow. Okay, get tall. Ooh, squeeze your butt. Oh, just bend your knees and sit down. Put it into the knees. Go for it. Oh. It's great. I'm literally trying to sissy squat out of my squat. So just knees as far forward as I can push them. And it's keeping me upright. I'm loving it. Okay, we're gonna rack up 185 and let's tear down bodybuilding a little bit. Bodybuilding's kind of sick, but dude, I mean, what are you gonna do? Unless you're on gear, you're not gonna look like anybody on the internet. Okay? Unless your entire life is training and you do these marathon splits where you're just training body parts, then you know that's the name of the game. It's almost like CrossFit in a way. Nothing's particularly hard. Nothing's particularly skilled. Nothing really engages your brain in this sort of holistic, dynamic, reactive way. It's just freaking hard, and you just got to, you know, bash your head against the wall and do more reps and sets and recover better than the next guy. But and then what's the end, right? What's the means to the end? You're gonna lift all this weight and do heavy high reps or whatever. We won't get into optimal stuff for hypertrophy, but just okay. Again, with bodybuilding, unless you're gonna get up and step on the stage, what is the end to bodybuilding? You're just lifting and bashing your head against the wall. I can see how that can be cool and fun as a routine, and it's a harmless, good discipline for most general pop folks. But again, you're just, what are you trying to achieve in the end? You're just trying to get jacked, okay? Now you're jacked, then what? Well, I'll get more jacked. Okay, hey man, you're more jacked. Now what? Uh, I don't know, get even more jacked. All right, now you're jacked and remarkable. Everybody's kind of staring at you and they're like, bro, you're pretty jacked. It's like, thanks, man. This is what I'm working on. I'm trying to get jacked. Sick, okay. Then you're like, wow, that was really encouraging. I'm going to get more jacked. Until someone says, like, bro, have you thought about stepping on stage? You're so jacked. And then you're with all the other people, but you'll never be the most jacked because being the most jacked is just an unchaseable dream that you'll never achieve. I think maybe this could be like a shoot for the moon, land amongst the stars sort of scenario. But again, chasing jacktitude and jackedness, while fun, I don't know, just kind of like leaves a lot of physical competencies on the table. I don't need to bang on the trope of, oh, have you ever seen bodybuilders move? But bro, like you're just banging back for 90 minutes, doing back and buys for like 2.5 hours. Is that how you want to spend your life? It's not bad. It's not bad. It's a lot less worse than the correctives functional guru types. I will give you that. But again, I think, you know, we have this body that likes to do interesting, uh, dynamic sort of, I like this word again, reactive movements. And you're getting none of that with bodybuilding. You're just getting jacked. Jacked is sick, but it's a little empty. There, here we go. Oh, Lordy. Okay. Okay. Pause squat. Here we go. Tuck the butt. Get forward. Get forward. Okay. Okay. You see that? You see that at 185, 135, I can handle. 185, my butt starts shooting back. So that's what we're trying to avoid. All right, we're going to strip this down and do a few sets of 3. Okay, and then the final thing to critique amongst the most kind of popular things in the fitness space, according to me, according to my algorithm, there could be some stuff I'm missing out on. Again, we're kind of dogging on, not trashing, because again, as a physical therapist, I'm just happy that people are exercising. But I think it's important that you're selective and value the things that you're choosing, and that should be well thought out. So that's what we're doing. We're thinking things out. again, we kind of dogged on CrossFit, bodybuilding, the corrective space. I guess I kind of left pure endurance sports out there. I think that was probably touched on with both bodybuilding and uh, CrossFit. The act of running far, doing triathlons, each of those individual skills, as it were, are not that difficult. Like to jog in a straight line or through a course is not crazy difficult. However, obviously at the long distances against other people, that can be probably one of the most challenging things to do on the entire planet, which is probably why it's so addicting. But again, what's the end here? Like, what are we developing? We're getting a really strong heart. Meanwhile, the rest of our body is just kind of peeling away. We're losing strength. We're losing that kind of dynamic ability, that sort of fast twitch capability, which when we're in our 40s, I would hoard every fast twitch fiber I had like gold. Okay. I wouldn't want to spare one fiber for any sport. I want to use those as much as I possibly can, grow them, multiply them. I don't think that's even true or possible in the science realm of it, but you gotta you gotta protect those fast twitch fibers, man. And endurance sports are not going to get you there. Endurance sports are great. I used to be really into trail running. I thought it was sick and a great community, but I guess the only thing only gripe I would have against endurance sports is please don't let that be the only sport you play. Do something else. Do another sport as well. Something with the ball. That's mean, but still, do it. Okay, just sit down. Push the knees forward. Good one. Last one. I know you guys like this in the shot. My little, uh-oh, there goes my lighting. That's how you know it's authentic. That's how you know it's real. Okay, so last one. It's been super popular, at least on my algorithm, has been the performance space. So strength and conditioning, S&C, professional strength and conditioning is having its day right now. It's having its moment. People are interested in jumping higher, running faster, getting stronger. There's a skills element even to training. And so people are trying to gamify training. So you're getting sports like elements in your training. The idea being you're developing your entire cognitive, corporeal sort of capacity, if that makes sense. Basically, your coordination and reaction to the environment you're in. We can call this in PT circles. We would call this like kind of an ecological theory to uh, an intervention or modality, and all that means is that you're trying to make the training that you're engaging in as real and authentic to what that person is going to do or have to deal with in a whole body perspective on the field or in life, I guess. Of the things I've been commenting on, my favorite training is probably the performance training because at the end of the training, what is the means to the end? What is the end? It's that you get to say, bro, I back squatted 405. Bro, that was kind of sick. Dude, I can jump 40 inches. Oh my gosh, I heard about a guy in the NFL Combine doing that. You can do that and you're just a normal dude. That's sick. I can run 100 meters, sub 12. Dude, I could do that back in high school. You can do that now. That's sick, right? Those are ends that justify the means. So I know this is going to just kind of go on and on and on and on. So I'm going to put a bow on things. Performance training, again, is my favorite mode of training because I feel like the ends justify the means. And you can't really hide from any of these movements behind false logic like, well, why do you back squat? Why don't you just like shrimp squat, bro? Because back squatting is sick. Front squatting with straps is sick. Shrimp squats are for shrimps. Shrimp squats are really hard, to be clear, but I'm just trying to make my point here. And we have innumerable studies saying that you bump up these numbers and you weight train, it's going to actually make you less injury prone, and it's just a worthy endeavor. Okay, take it from a physical therapist. Can you trust me, guys? Is that enough? Is that enough for you to trust me? I wouldn't be doing this if I thought it was bad for me. Okay, but to put a bow on it, the ends need to justify the means. Based on my values, the performance training is the most conducive to my goals. Okay, but my goals are to be good at basketball. I love basketball. Okay, and I guess that's the headline of this is Sean loves basketball, and I know that being fast is going to help me in basketball. Being jacked is going to help me in basketball, and being strong is going to help me in basketball. Jumping high is especially going to help me in basketball. But those things are all subordinate to the game of basketball, where you need to be fast, you need to be strong, you need to be able to jump high. I think those things would be especially true if I played football, but I have my own limits and, of course, my values. And my values are not currently in getting suited up in full pads and going on the weekends and banging with a bunch of dudes, pause, on the football field. It's playing basketball 3, 4, 5 times a week. And I'm going to find the training modality that's going to help me the most with that. And that happens to be performance training. But again, that's subordinate to the sport. Here's how to think about it. What would you take? Performance training or the sport? What would you rather do the rest of your life? Would you rather be locked in your basement, front squatting with straps and trying to jump and touch your ceiling and get really jacked? Or would you rather play the sport the rest of your life? Uh, for my happiness, my values, and everything, yeah, dude, I'll take the sport all day. For some people that are just gym rats and their whole identity is kind of wrapped up in the gym equipment and their performance metrics, then they're going to choose door A, right? They're going to walk through this one and say, give me that performance training all day. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think the most enjoyable thing is to have everything be subordinate to your sport. And I think it's a worthy endeavor as a 40-year-old athlete to have some kind of sport that gets you kind of jacked. Like, and I don't mean physically jacked, like gets you wanting to wake up at 5 in the morning and go bang with dudes, right? Got to bang with dudes in the end. No pause on that. That's why I go to basketball, is to bang with dudes. That's really how I'm going to finish that little monologue there. That was sick. That's gonna really never bite me in the butt or chase me to the end of my days. Stay tall. Good knees forward. Good knees forward. A little more intent on this one.